People asking for updates on this truck, and truth be told, I've been lazy on it. We got the body set on there and I haven't really done a whole lot more to it, but I really need to get this thing running and driving. That way it's not just sitting here in the shop. But this is a 1979 Ford F-150 that I picked up at a farm estate sale. I got running, ran and drove, but it was just old and outdated, and I just happened to have this 2017 Ford Expedition sitting here beside it, and I was like, man, that wheelbase looks almost identical. So I pulled the body off of it, and as you can see, I got it sitting on this chassis. Independent suspension, fuel tank, drive line, I mean, everything's done, and the wheelbase actually matched up almost identical. Even the fuel door on these old Fords come out behind the rear tire, and look at this. It is perfect. It was like meant to be. But anyways, this was a 2017 Ford Platinum Expedition or whatever with a 3.5 liter twin turbo EcoBoost. And I know nothing about these things, so I figured I'd take you guys along for a little bit of this that I've learned so far. So I'm used to LS swaps, so I can get one of these running. I know what I need to do as far as getting the harness working in a older vehicle. This I kind of dove into, and I said I'll just figure it out as I go. And I found out that there's not a lot of people do this swap, but there's not a whole lot of information out there. I did finally find a company that's gonna rebuild the chassis harness to make this engine run. So that's what's different on this, is all this factory engine harness will stay on there, and I need just the chassis side to be able to make this run. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's the Ford I tore apart. It's a 2017 Expedition, and I drove it into the shop. It did have a front end collision, so I know everything's good, and I know I should have everything here that I would need to make it run. Now, it does have the fancy interior, heated, cooled seats, front and back, but I'm not a fan of interior swaps, so I'm not really going to use any of this. So I'm trying to find out what the bare minimum is I need to make that thing run with the Ford cab. So like I said, instead of having to work the engine harness over, we need the chassis harness. So if you open the hood right here, there's a fuse block and all the wires that go into your body. So right here was your fuel pedal and another module and all that stuff, and I just unplugged all that and pulled it through the hole. The same with this hole. There's some modules and stuff, but the only module that we're gonna need is the ECM, and on these Fords they bolt up in the hole right there. So basically everything on the right side of the plug just fall apart. It looks pretty scary, but just the stuff on the core support. And let's see here, see the plug going into the body, so there really wasn't a whole lot there I had to pull out. So I just talked to the company, and I'm gonna mail them this harness, and they're gonna put a different fuse box relay on it, and anyways boil it down to probably 3 or 4 wires that I need to hook up to make that engine run. So I'm going to ship that to them, and we'll pick up the build from there.